The situations that require a long-term visa are actually quite simple. It's basically all non-EU citizens, including British expats now, do need to apply for a visa if they want to exceed the 90 days allowance in France. And so that includes second homeowners well, long-term tourists and retirees. The only exemption is for people who are the spouse or partner of an EU citizen. There are other exemptions, but they're really marginal. The main ones are spouse or partner of an EU citizen or a French citizen, which is also a EU citizen. So that's, yeah. And the rule of thumb for everyone else is all non-EU citizens that want to exceed the 90 days allowance in France need to apply for a visa in their home country, country of nationality or residency. So, how to apply for a long term visa in France? Actually, you do apply online. France has been digitalized since COVID. That's one of the good things that went out of that. So, you apply on a website, the governmental website, which is called francevisa.gov.fr. You start the process online. You'll need to go through an in person interview in your home country. So, in the UK, that's subcontracted to TLS. In the US and Canada, that's subcontracted to VFS, for example. And here you go. A successful visa application, as I like to say all the time, boils down to three main pillars. You need to have an address in France, and that needs to be a permanent address if you're applying for a long stay visa. So, rental accommodation, or obviously a place you bought. You need to have income. You need to meet French minimum wage or have the equivalent of 1 year of French minimum wage in savings. And yes, there are discounts for couples and families. And then the final test is proof of medical coverage, which means either you have access to EU coverage of some sort because you have an EU social security number, an active one, or that means you need private medical insurance. There is one exemption for this one. For British expats which have state pension, you can apply for something called an S1, and that will get rid of the private medical insurance requirement. But that's basically it. If you meet these three requirements, you're pretty much good to go, and it only boils down to paperwork then. Well, we've been in this industry since 2015, and since Brexit, we're seeing more volumes, obviously. So nowadays, we're dealing kind of 1,000 visas and a bit more than that every year. So we're seeing a lot of applications and a lot of accepted and some rejected applications. So what makes an application being rejected? So first things, point blank rejections pretty much never happen. Very often, they give you an opportunity to fix it unless it really isn't fixable, but very often they leave you the chance to fix the application. And what are the main reasons for an application being rejected? It's very expensive insurance. Most of you guys who end up being rejected are using a non-compliant policy. This is why it's very important to work with the experts. Obviously, I'd say such as ourselves, but there are others on the market. Although we're more than happy to advise, they have some strict requirements for an insurance policy to be visa compliant. And also, it's important to understand that this is a political tool, the visa. Sometimes you may hear people that say, "Oh, I've used this and it was accepted," and may not be accepted in your case because they were lucky and went and slipped through the cracks, and maybe you won't be. So again, it's very important to understand what the requirements are, and we're here to help if you have any questions. The other main issue for visa rejection is indirectly the proof of income, because this one it's either you meet the requirement or you don't. But very often when you're using, I don't know, something like a business visa, it may be more subjective. Like you're using a business plan, so obviously you're putting numbers out of thin air, and it may be a cause for rejection. That's why it's very important to present them with a file that looks good, and this is the kind of thing that they want to see. So it's something that we see very often. Like business visa tends to be more rejected than others, and the higher rejection rate we see with the passport talent, for example. So in terms of timing, this is a question we're being asked very often. When should I start my visa application process? And this is something I like to say. as quickly or as early as you can come up with a fixed date. And it needs to be a fixed date again, like 15th of September 2024. Like September or late 2024 is not a fixed date. It needs to be a fixed date. Once you come up with that, you can work your way backwards. So 6 months backwards is when you can start filing your application online. However, you can only book the physical interview when you are within 90 to 30 days away from that date. So you can start the admin process up to 6 months ahead and book the interview within the 90 to 30 days prior to the intended arrival date to France. This is how it goes. And obviously, as for everything, the sooner you get started, the better, because then the less stress and worries usually involved in the process. So actually, yeah, you can apply to the French national healthcare system very quickly. So for business visas, this is even quicker. But the standard scenario for families or non-workers, you can apply as soon as 90 days in. So once you've been in France for 90 days, or more than 90 days, you can start your application into the French system, which is called CPAM, CPAM. And you start the application after 90 days. This is quite a lengthy process, like 6 to 7 months, but you'll be covered by the end of the first year very often. And also residency. So you can apply for your residency permit shortly before your visa expires. Like often I would advise 2 months before the visa expires. That's a perfect time to start the application for your residency permit. And this is it. And then you'll keep on renewing your permits in France. You can book a discovery call, or as I like to call them, moving to France consultation with me. The link will be put in the description below. And also, obviously, you can go onto our website, frenchinsurance.com, and leave us a note. We'll be happy to get in touch. This is a free consultation. We offer a free 30 minutes consultation about anything moving to France related, from visa to residency permits to healthcare to taxes, and obviously to insurance. We can cover every topic. The goal is to help you make it across.